Genesis chapter 4 verse 6. So the Lord said to Cain, "Why are you angry? And why has your countenance fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin lies at the door, and its desires for you, but you should rule over it." After Cain and Abel provide an offering to God in the beginning of Genesis chapter 4, the Lord asks Cain why his face had fallen. In the earlier verses, it is not directly written how or whom commanded them to make this offering. However, one can assume they watched as their parents Adam and Eve made offerings to the Lord, as it is the nature of children to replicate what their parents do. Thus, when they matured both in body and mind and began to work, them too decided to present offerings to God as a spiritual practice. Now, this practice was necessary for mankind, as it was the way mankind subjected itself to its Creator, to believe and to practice that He is ruled by God. Mankind provided these offerings so that he would know God is Almighty. He precedes and supersedes man's life, and because man must continually connect with God in a way that shows his willing subordination. The story after is not new for many. Cain brought forth many fruits, and Abel brought forth the firstborn of his flock and of their fat. Now the biblical description shows that Abel's offering had more detail and care. Imagine, Abel could have chosen any sheep, young or old, but he selected only the firstborns, the ones that were special not only to him but also to the parents of these sheep. Through Abel, even the parent sheep practiced a commitment to God and sanctified their lives and families to Him. Abel also brought their fat, as fat burns longer in fire and adds flavor to the offering he presented. In Cain's case, it is written that he only brought forth fruit. Now God accepted Abel and his offering, but did not look towards Cain, which made Cain angry and have a fallen countenance. God notices this changed nature of Cain's. Of course, how could he not? He's God. But God did not allow Cain to remain angry. He came forth to Cain like a loving father, seeking to try to help his kids make the right decisions. He asked him why he was angry and told him, "If you do well, will you not be accepted?" God admits to Cain that the first offering he presented was not done well, and from the likes of the question, Cain had known that the offering he presented was not the best he could offer as well. However, God's question wasn't just a rhetorical question. God was also granting Cain a second chance, an opportunity to be accepted again. He reached out like a loving father and said, "Come back to me, son. Let's try this again. I know you didn't get it right the first time, and you didn't give me your best. You procrastinated, waited to the last minute, and it gave zero effort into our relationship. But hey, I am an eternal God, and as long as you are alive, you can keep trying to do better. You know I'll forgive you, right? You know I'll accept you, look towards you, love and make your countenance, your face bright again, right?" God then pleads with Cain, warning him that if he doesn't try again of the dangers that might come. He tells him, "If you do not do well, sin lies at the door, and its desires for you, but you should rule over it." God knew what was in Cain's heart, how full of anger and emotion he was. The only way to correct that was to do well, present another offering and get blessed. The only way Cain's anger and guilt would pass was if Cain got the same blessing that God gave Abel, because it is the lack of that which upset Cain in the first place. Although Cain's initial lazy offering was in fact a mistake itself, God did not count that sin on Cain, for the Lord said, "Sin is still at the door." He tells him that the big fault, the big mistake, and the big evil is not yet in your heart. You can deny it. I know you're angry, you're full of lust, you're full of pride. You're lazy, weak, selfish, greedy, hopeless, blabbermouthed, ill-mannered, idle, vain, glory-seeking, self-absorbed. But you can still do this again. Come in front of me, come to my house, and give me another offering. Throw away those feelings, don't act on them. Sin is at your door pacing around, but don't let it in. Now when God created the world in Genesis chapter 1, He didn't create sin. Therefore, sin is not a being or creature that survives independently of man and externally in the world, but rather is the consequence of man's free will. When the free will of man rejects God and denies good, yet the desire to sin or sinful desire can be so strong, it takes a mind of its own like a big flood, determined to wipe out everything in its way. God tells Cain, but you should rule over that sin. Don't let it into your heart, don't do it. My son, just come to my house. Try to do your best next time. The fruit you gave me the first time, I didn't really like. You didn't wash them. You didn't pick them right. You didn't really care. But you can go and get new fruits, work hard, till the ground, and try to give me better fruits. Try to be more filled with love next time you offer me a sacrifice. Try to be filled with humility. Wash your mind and body as much as you can with repentance before you come. Just try. Don't let these thoughts take you, my child. I'm eternal. I'm omnipresent. I'm not going anywhere. Just please don't be angry. Don't be prideful. Don't. In the following verse, Cain killed his brother Abel.